Oh, is this nice?
Oh boy.
What's that?
Hello. Welcome everybody
Oh, good morning.
to Second Cup with Keymaster, the show where I discuss my bourbon finds for the week and Jen mocks me for them.
That's right.
What's up, Henri?
It's
Henri
not even on the
Audubon?
list. When I make this what are we going to talk about? I even make notes about coffee, but I don't make notes about bourbon because just assume that it's going to interject itself in some way.
I got selected for my first raffle.
You were selected
I,
to
I was
enter
sorry,
a
sorry.
raffle?
I was selected in a raffle for a
In a
bourbon
raffle.
in a
Okay.
raffle for the
It's
first
like
time.
you've been selected to join this
Obviously, it's
raffle.
never happened because I've never had to put it in a sentence before. I won a raffle. That's it. I won a raffle to be allowed to buy a bourbon. And the words is hard.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Um,
Thanks.
did you go buy it yet?
No, I have to drive to Knoxville.
Oh,
It's a 3-hour drive both ways. So maybe I'll go to a UT game randomly.
you're gonna drive 3 hours both ways to.
Go to a football game
Oh,
and
this
pick up
is
a bourbon.
that Bram conversation. So, is this is there's nobody? All right.
What's up, everyone? Okay, here we go. We got Silver Fear 1 here. Hello.
Oh, we had a
Henri
follow, right? We
Audubon.
had a follow right in the beginning too.
Yes.
I'm not seeing a notification on that, but thank you for the follow.
Yes. Vestigade.
That's one. That's the one. Thanks for the follow.
What's up, No Soul? What
Good
kind?
morning.
Blantons. Wait,
Good morning, Bram. Good morning, Henry.
we're all set on the Blantons front. Jen, have I ever showed you this bottle?
I've seen that bottle before. Not yours. I've seen it like
It's a very divisive bottle.
on the shelves of places.
I hunted for one of these for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and now it just sits on my shelf.
Lurker, good morning. What's happening?
Oh, long time. Long time.
We got cuppers. We're doing
What's
cuppers.
up,
We're
my
trying to
cuppers?
could be I mean like it's got like Cuphead vibes too. I'm kind of here for it.
Brody. Hello, Brody. What's new? What's new? Well, we got a lot of things new. Matt went on a cinematic journey this weekend.
You did.
I watched a lot of movies. I was just in a mood. I was in a funk. I didn't want to play video games. Board game nights were canceled. The wife wasn't around. So I watched TV and movies.
You don't have to say like it's a bad thing. Here, we could just go. Let's just dive right in. Let me type. I got typing one-handed is challenging. There we go.
Entertain. Whoa, we just went right in. So what's new? So
Well, I
what's
mean,
next?
might as well.
Okay. So Jen, you first. You've been.
Me for okay. I'll do one and then you do one.
Okay.
We'll try that.
We did that
We
last
tried
time. It
that
worked.
last week. We're gonna try something new.
I think
All
we
right.
should
So,
snake drafts.
uh,
You do
my
one, I do 1, 2. You do 2, 3. I do 3, 4. No. Okay, go.
um, we watched the Britney Spears documentary uh, for Rebecca's birthday.
She wanted to watch the conservatory documentary for her birthday?
She
Wait,
did it.
Jen, but what did you want to watch for your birthday? Because, by the way, guys, I forgot. Last Friday was Jen's birthday. I didn't even call her out on stream, so I might sing her happy birthday belated in a second. But Jen, what? So you watched Britney Spears? So go ahead. Lots of things to unpack there.
We did. We watched Britney Spears. Britney versus Spears, right? That's what it's called. And I think it did a. So the document there's a couple of things. Mixed feelings. One, for sure, all of those people who are stealing her money deserve to be in jail. Two, because that is what they're doing, and I think at this point, like how we're still having like how it hasn't just been dissolved, like I have a lot of questions around um, why this is still happening, like how the legal system is allowing this to still happen, like it is freaking fascinating, but also like Rebecca and I both turned to each other and like, this is also terrifying. So there are conservatories that are in theory it is meant to be a very helpful thing for people, and in action and in actuality, especially with somebody as valuable, who has a net worth that is so great, it's just insane. It's really just absurd that this has happened. It's been 13 years. So in regards to the documentary, there's kind of like two lanes to it. One, I don't think that they do a very good job of kind of objectively talking about Britney Spears and maybe like some actual trauma that she was experiencing, or some actual mental health things that she was experiencing because of the intensely high pressure position that she was in. From like a super young age, she like started doing this mad at like, like 16. Like I look back at that and I was like, I remember how old I was. You're only a couple years older than me, which means that you were a child when you started, making music, and it's crazy. So the second part of that is, so on the one hand, I don't think the documentary is really objective about like actual mental health things that she's going through. And I think that's kind of a bummer, because I think that there's a lot to learn from her, from a documentary or anything, reflecting on like this burden, this pressure point that we put on entertainers, right? Non-entertainment. We're sitting here talking, we have an entertainment section. But the second part of it is that like, just kind of bringing to light that this thing has happened, the people that have taken advantage of her and how they use the legal system to do that. Mm-hmm. It's just, man.
Yeah.
And then you go, so the bottom line, the big takeaway is you go back and listen to Blackout again, whole different perspective. Completely different.
I did not listen to Blackout the first time though, so
now watch the documentary, then go listen to Blackout, and you'll be like, now I understand what all of these things are saying.
Well, news today: judge frees Britney Spears from father's control.
It's official. Yesterday it was officially suspended. Yesterday afternoon.
Is that's her dad?
Mm-hmm. Jamie Spears.
Crazy. Wait. His name? No, it's James P. Spears.
But
Jamie Lynn is her sister, right?
Jamie is like her dad's.
Everybody called
nickname.
He named his second daughter after himself.
I mean, I don't know.
Her name's Jamie Lynn.
Doesn't really talk about that, or really her sister very much. Anyways,
listen, Jen, you don't have kids, so you don't understand how much work goes into driving them to and from practice, and feeding them, clothing them, turning them into the superstars they are. It's all the parents.
Right, all parents. But and then it just makes you think about like these kids who have just parents that are putting that pressure on them. Whether it's cheerleading or dance or all of these routines, right? You think back to these like what was that movie? Jennifer Aniston's in it. The
Breakup.
No, with the daughter who's like Dumpling or something, right? Jennifer Aniston's the mom. She has a daughter, but it's one of those pageant things. Anyways,
I don't believe that character. Who cast Jennifer Aniston as a Mom.
Look, if you haven't watched the morning show, you haven't seen real Jennifer Aniston. She's very
Is
good
this
in the
another?
morning
Is
show.
this another Apple TV thing I gotta do?
It is. Right now there's like three things that release on Apple TV every Friday. It's actually a lot. Anyways, that's my one thing. Britney versus Spears documentary. If you don't know anything about it, if you were like me who like was young and grew up with a lot of assumptions around Britney, uh, I felt like I was kind of a good person for sitting down and like taking the time to understand that there was a lot of different things going on, and this is what happens when you're a child and you're manipulated by the world, the news, media, entertainment. It definitely brings to light that there is a that the information that's presented to us is skewed heavily. Just reminds us of that thing. So that's my entertainment number one. What about you, Matt?
Well, I watched one of the great '90s movies, Last of the Mohicans, this weekend. It was just one of those things where you just sit down and you're flipping and you're flipping, and boom! I wanted to watch Last of the Mohicans. If you haven't seen Last of the Mohicans, you absolutely should.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis lived in the Appalachian Mountains for 4 months as he was
so if you don't know,
preparing.
So this is the fun fact about Daniel Day-Lewis. He's considered a method actor. If you don't know what that means, it means that method acting is where an actor chooses to they participate as wholly in the lifestyle of the character that they are becoming in order to they essentially live that throughout their filming the filming process, and often before that, leading up to it, so that they're totally invested in like the space that they're in or the mindset.
Man, there's stories of him on set. There's a Rewatchables episode. So, if you haven't heard Jen and I talk about the Rewatchables, here you go.
Here we go.
There's your weekly plug. There's a Rewatchables episode about it where he talks about he's on set. And like someone pulls out a cell phone. It's 1992 or 1991 or just something. And he was like, he like pretended that he had never seen this thing before. And he was like, oh, there's a new technology. Anyway, it's crazy just how deep he goes. But anyway, watched Last of the Mohicans while I was doing some ironing. And then I stopped ironing and I sat down and I was just in it. I was in it.
You just got invested. You tried to be like, I've seen Last of the Mohicans before. I can totally do this on the side.
Find you. No matter how long, no matter how far. Anyway, great freaking movie. In case you're wondering, it's a tragedy. Also, there's a book that was New Tech. That's right. That's fair, Lurker. It was New Tech. But anyway, there's great stories from that. It's really well shot. It's about a guy who's raised by a Native American father.
Fat bears.
No,
it's my fat bear plug.
And they live out on the frontier, and so they interact with the frontier society. But Britain is putting pressure on colonials, and then the French and Indian War. Oh, great! Y'all should check it out. Last of the Mohicans, Daniel Day-Lewis, classic.
It is a classic. 2 hours. Back in the 90s when they were making 2-hour movies before 2-hour movies were cool to make.
Yeah. An hour 52. Core.
Oh, you're right, Bloodborne, Jungle Book. That was Wolves' Jungle Book. My bad. Well, Jaguars. Panthers. That's Jungle Book. That's such a good movie, Matt.
It is.
It totally sucks you in. The score for that film is like you just want to cry the whole time. You're just like, I'm emotionally invested in characters. I'm not sure why. They seem like bad people, but I'm still emotionally invested in them.
We got the picture right here of the British. I mean, this is just how this is what I love about the 90s, right? It was all black and white. Like, you are supposed to hate the British from the onset. There was no there's no sympathizer in the British entourage anywhere. It was all just the British are like this, the colonials are like this, the Native Americans are like this. Like, I don't know. Well, there's a lot more nuance, I think, in movies these days, but still, really just.
Well, there's the beginnings of nuance there, right? Like, I guess that comes back to like this is an example of something that's really well cast, and they're pulling from a book that's got just the dirtier like the storyline, or like that historical moment in time is a kind of gray area, essentially, part of our revolutionary history, where we colonial America was kind of doing some horrible things in exchange for help against against England.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I think by nature of like the conversation that's being had, therefore it's
Yeah.
creates that nuance where there isn't typically any.
Nuance in 1992.
Man, looking at these pictures now, you're
Listen.
gonna make me go.
Yeah, listen. This is so. This is awesome. This is
Again.
this is
Oh,
Daniel Day Lewis's adopted dad, um, against Magua, who's supposed to be the villain. He's a Huron war chief, war leader, war band leader.
who's really just part of a tribe of Native Americans who are
Angry and
heavily
getting
and heartily
displaced. Yeah.
abused.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's something I'm trying. I'm desperately trying. There's an interesting story around one of the best weapons ever. Yes, that weapon is actually
Yeah,
terrifying.
it's just the butt of a gun, like just a stock of a gun, and you put a little spike on it, and
Yeah.
he does a throw one
Yeah,
time.
it's like
Oh, so
axe,
good.
but it's an axe, but it's a club, but it's an axe club. I don't. Yeah. Uh, about that actor, the Native American who plays
Yeah.
the Huron. I cannot remember.
He's in a ton. He's in a ton of movies.
He's in a lot.
Yeah, Wes Studi. He's in Mystery Men. Oh, that's so funny. He's in Heat. That's right. He's in Heat. I forgot about that. Look at all this though.
Yeah, just very, yeah, totally underrated.
Man, he's in a ton of movies.
Pretty sure he's in like Twilight too.
Lots of TV. He was in Avatar.
I don't remember that at all.
He was one of the whatever the people are called. The aliens. Well, I guess they're natives.
Lurker needs a new album to obsess over.
Wait, a new album? A new music album?
New music album. Look, I've been listening to Black Pumas again because it finally dawned on me that it's been an acceptable amount of time where I can start questioning when there's going to be a new Black Pumas album.
Here you go, right here.
Matt's got it.
Boom.
What are you picking?
Dune. Original motion picture soundtrack. Sorry, Bloodborne asked what that thing's called. I have no idea. Side note, I was totally just sucked into the photos of Last of the Mohicans. I haven't looked at chat in at least 5 minutes. Wow, I got a lot to catch up on.
All right, so we got Silverfair who finished Manifest. We have that's the one that's the Netflix is finishing it, or Netflix released the last season, right? They're doing their last season, but I don't understand if they're like if that's already happened or if it's still happening. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Hey, Girl Friday. Dang it, I did it. It's been so many weeks. I screwed up.
What is that thing even called? I think we determined that it's Wacky Axe Club Stick.
Hold on. I was going to log in, but I'm not going to log in. I like me some Deep Focus. What are some other things I've been listening to?
Well, I just missed. Oh, No Soul said Only Murders in the Building. Yes, Jen on Hulu.
Is that the Martin Short one?
This week's episode seriously deserves a Tony Award. Tony Award. That sounds like a spoiler. It is on Hulu. It is totally one of those things that makes me like. We determined, Kyle and I were talking because we both got in on Disney with the super early 3-year buy-in thing. And we realized that will be up finally in like February or something, and then we'll be able to like switch over to the bundle, that different bundle, the Hulu, ESPN, Disney bundle, or whatever it is. So then I can watch all of the Hulu things that I've been storing up to watch for a very long time now.
There's some good stuff on Hulu. Which brings me to my number 2 is I just discovered Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Aha.
If has anybody in the chat watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I feel like it's one of those things I've been wanting to watch for a really long time, but we don't have TV at all. We don't do live TV, and up until this point, I hadn't done any of the streaming services that had Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I did Hulu so that I could watch Formula One because they got live TV now, and it's part of the Disney. Do it all together. And that show is absolutely brilliant. It's not 30 Rock brilliant. I think 30 Rock at its peak.
Sure agrees. 100% agreement on this Brooklyn Nine-Nine right now on
okay, here we go. Oh, we got it. Everybody, listen. Evidently I struck a chord here. It's awesome. I'm through season 1. Which maybe
You're already
is a slow.
through season 1. You just started. Oh, you must really like it. Okay.
I know. It's like I find 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. It's great. It's fantastic. Some of the best cold opens. I think that I love 30 Rock. 30 Rock's my favorite comedy. That's mine.
Okay.
But man, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's it's close second for me. It's not as culturally relevant. It's just good character comedy.
Okay.
And Sandberg is fantastic.
Yeah, I've never seen it. Same reasons with the live TV stuff, but it's definitely been that. Yeah, we're gonna start a running list of reasons why I'm missing out for not having Hulu.
I don't know. I'm not in love with Hulu. I haven't been digging the interface at all.
Well, there's just some stuff that I just want to watch over there, right? That's there. That are big pulls. We've never seen what's the one with the hats, the red outfits.
Handmaid's Tale.
Handmaid's Tale. Like, we've never watched that. I know there's more than that. That's just the example that's top of mind.
Let me just log in and see.
We'll go look at it. Let's go look at what's on Hulu.
What else have you been watching, Jen?
Well, speaking of Formula One, Netflix also documentary again in this documentary vibes, trying to grow my brain, think about brain things. Watch the Schumacher documentary. On Netflix. It just dropped this past week on Netflix. Which is a really, I mean, that is not a feel-good story, but at the end, but all the way up until the end, it is. It's, it kind of really highlights somebody who was totally passionate about a thing that they were doing and did it to the full extent, and did it while being a good person. Which is, so it's just kind of, that was... nice to watch. So Michael Schumacher, a really famous Formula One driver, a top performing Formula One driver for a long time, who unfortunately is in a coma that presumably he will never come out of, because of just a freak accident, not even related to Formula One, because he had a full career and actually retired from Formula One racing, and this happened afterwards.
One of the greats.
But an incredible driver, somebody that I definitely used to watch on occasion, and just kind of assumed there was just a period of time in Formula One racing where Schumacher was just like presumed winner. Like we'd have Formula One racing on in the background, and it'd be like, "Where's the red car? It's at the front." Okay.
I mean, he was the Lewis Hamilton of his day, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it
Interesting,
was.
interesting tie. So, I mean, turns out, I actually think that interesting things that I pulled from this documentary are just about the state of different teams that he raced for. Namely, he raced for Ferrari for a really long time. He returned and did some for Mercedes as well, but his premier
Mm-hmm.
career performance time was with Ferrari. And he was with Ferrari. They don't go like dive deeply into this in the documentary, but he started with Ferrari kind of at the end of Niki Lauda's career. So Niki
Mm-hmm.
Lauda is one of the characters that's talked about in Rush. Matt and I have talked about Rush on um, stream before, for sure. Just in terms of being a super rewatchable movie, a movie's excellent. Um, so he actually worked with Niki Lauda for a little while,
Yep.
which I did not know.
Yeah, so he won his first championship with Benetton,
Yeah,
and then
did
went
not
on to
win. Like
Ferrari.
was not originally with Ferrari. Didn't sign with Ferrari until he won
Yep.
his first drivers' championship. He actually won multiple championships in a row, and then signed with Ferrari, and then didn't win for a really long time because Ferrari was going through a period of having. This is the nuance of Formula One, right? Because like we're all watching these races and we're like, there's a bunch of really fast cars that all look the same. So for it's just really interesting to hear drivers and engineers talk about cars being bad because you put these cars side by side and like we can't tell the difference. We can't tell you anything that's different about like small wheels on the front, big wheels on the back, huge
Huge
thing
wings.
that's keeping the car from totally flying off the road, low nose cone. It's like millimeters off the ground at any given moment. Um, like they're all like that. Carbon
Yep.
fiber bodies. You're like, what is different about it? Why are you telling me this is a garbage car? But to say that like Ferrari had a very poor performing car for a long time, and like Schumacher went on a journey where he was heavily involved in them re-engineering their car to not suck, whatever that means.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's great. I'm excited to watch it. I told Jen I was going to watch it this weekend, but then I watched Last of the Mohicans instead.
So, spoiler, it's very enjoyable. It's not, you kind of get to the end. It's not sad and terrifying, depressing the way that Brittany was. It's just different. It is sad because you're like, this is really unfortunate this happens, but it's really nice to hear from his family and the way they talk about the accident is like very humanizing, which is great. It's very enjoyable.
His
Good.
son, Mick Schumacher, now races for the worst team in Formula One.
He is,
Throwing it
yeah.
out there.
So he's a Formula Two racer,
No, he's
right? Like,
Formula One now.
is he Formula One now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, different formulas.
Yeah. So there's Formula 1, 2, 3, Formula E, which has got a 10-year exclusivity on electric supercars.
Okay.
Anyway,
And
if you
then
haven't watched Drive to
NASCAR
Survive,
way down at the bottom.
yeah. If you haven't watched Drive to Survive, which is the Netflix documentary that follows the Formula One seasons, you absolutely should, Jen.
Yeah.
And then you will be joining me Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
Oh,
watching some
absolutely.
Formula One.
It's definitely
every
gonna
week.
happen. As soon as I'm gonna figure out ESPN. Be like, what's it gonna cost me to upgrade this Disney thing to Hulu and ESPN? Got NHL season starting too. I need to figure out a way to watch that. And right now, that's looking like it's it. So it might be happening sooner than I think.
I love it. You should. Anything else? What else have you been watching?
What are my other things? So Cry Macho, Clint Eastwood's latest Cry Macho, or latest movie Cry Macho is on HBO right now for a little bit longer. It's got like a couple more weeks or something on HBO. Big takeaway so far, not done with the movie. Told this to Matt in the morning. I was like,
She's
so
not
far
finishing it.
our favorite character is the rooster.
You're not finishing. I thought the rooster was the name of Clint Eastwood's character. I was like, okay, the rooster. But that was actually from another movie. Anyway.
And that's really all there. Like Clint Eastwood is totally a man. I think it's awesome that Clint Eastwood is clearly dedicated to his profession and is going to work until the day he dies. He's not going to retire. Like that's a I like that. I think that just shows that he's one of those people he's been in it for like 60 years now, but just completely passionate about the work that he's doing, which is great. Doesn't mean that everything at the end of his career is going to be excellent.
He's a little. His last great movie was Gran Torino. Okay, let's be honest.
Oh yeah, yep.
That
I think that's probably true. I didn't watch the one where he's the mule? Is that what that was
Yeah,
called?
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't watch that one.
Clint Eastwood.
Anyone watching Visions?
Yeah,
What is that?
I don't even know
Oh,
what
is
this
that the
is.
Disney thing? That's the thing that's on Disney, right? It's like a behind the scenes thing. I'd have to go back to Million Dollar Baby. Oh, Bloodborne. I reached recently. So this was our funny story. I think we mentioned it, but so watched Million Dollar Baby for the first time with Rebecca before going to Gen Con, before going and being away from home and leaving my wife alone for a week. Bad idea. Really bad idea. Star Wars Visions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, got it. No, I'm not watching that.
Star Wars
How is it?
Visions
How
animated series. What if Star Wars Okay, there you go. Star Wars Visions. Wikipedia.
isn't there a new Pixar behind the scenes thing on Disney though? I thought there was. It's very, very good. Very it got two varies. Very, very good, Matt.
This is the anime Star Wars that they did with a couple of different studios, right?
Okay. I thought that we talked about there's the anime book coming out last week. Didn't we talk about there's a book that's happening?
I am not sure.
The manga? Is this based on the manga or this is totally different? I really have no idea about the Star Wars
There is
video.
that too.
It's also that. Okay, these are two different things.
I haven't watched What If yet. I haven't watched Visions yet. I
Yeah,
might
I haven't watched
find.
any of the what ifs either.
I could maybe find some time to carve those out. I don't know. It sounds like I got 8 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine ahead of me, or 7 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine ahead of me.
It's a lot.
Jen, you watched something else, something near and dear to my heart, on Sunday night.
I did on Sunday. What did I watch?
You also played the board game 2 weeks ago. Jen, I'm so disappointed in you. My heart hurts. I just feel it down here.
What did I watch, man? Sunday.
Uh-huh. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm texting you about Last of the Mohicans.
Oh,
No,
that's
I
right.
apologized for not for forgetting your birthday. That's right. Public
That's
confession.
right. Got home and we watched Rocketeer because Rebecca had never seen the Rocketeer. So we watched the Rocketeer. Speaking of Hans Zimmer, making connections for Dune, Hans Zimmer wrote the score for Rocketeer, which is excellent. And Rebecca said she almost liked it.
Almost liked it, y'all. That's
Almost
pretty
liked
good. That's like a 7 out of 10 in Rebecca's book.
That's probably like a 6, but
It,
was paying attention at certain points.
Rocketeer is one of my absolute childhood favorites.
For sure.
Definitely shouldn't be watching it as young as I did.
Well, do you remember how old you were when you watched it for the first
Yeah,
time?
like 5.
I mean, were you uh like What?
There's nothing you can rationalize. This is not
I'm
a.
just sorry, I'm getting distracted. The Hans Zimmer wrote a score for our book about Dune. That's right. Insight Editions, who's the company, the publisher for the book, The Art of the National Parks. This is a total side note. They also have like the world's fanciest book about Dune, like a super limited fancy edition book. And there's a score in there that's, I think it's unique. It's like different than the. Oh, was it James Horner? I was wrong. It's James Horner. You're right, because James Horner is the, yeah.
Anyway, Jen watched The Rocketeer, and
Oh, it's Rocketeer.
I loved it. I sat down to watch it, and I was like watching. I was hanging out with my 2-year-old, and he wasn't watching anything; he was just playing. I was like, I'll put it on, and then
So
immediately there's
you're saying that you were like, I'm too young to watch this at 5, so you let your 2-year-old watch
no,
The
I
Rockets?
turned it off. I started it. I was like, even if this is like not what he's paying attention to,
There's some pretty violent things in it.
it's kind of like that classic. Do you remember when Jaws, Caddyshack? They're both PG movies. We didn't have PG-13, and so then like the '90s was like, what is PG? And like, oh well, that's there's no blood and gore, there's no sex and gratuitous violence, but there's still violence. It's like, oh,
Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. That's right. That's right.
Fact.
Early '90s, good time. I also last thing, and then we can actually talk about board games.
Yes, James Horner ripped though. Yes, that's right. It's James Horner. James Horner just passed away. Hans Zimmer. They make very similar music though.
I also watched Sicario. Sicario. Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, Josh Brolin.
Was this your first time watching?
First time watching. I've been like it's been there, and wow, that movie was intense.
Yeah,
that movie was intense.
It was a big like shift for Emily Blunt. I feel like when it came out, because we were like, I don't think there's any jokes in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We're gonna go back down the Blunt. That's why I think it really popped up as we did the Emily Blunt or Rock, and we were
so the internet saw that you were looking up Emily Blunt things.
Well, I just knew, I was like, oh, I do want to watch Sicario. Looks like she does like 2 or 3 movies a year. But I always thought her and John Krasinski, her husband, right? Krasinski?
John Krasinski.
Krasinski.
Mm-hmm.
They like alternated. They were like, oh, you can do one, I can do one, you can do one, I can do one.
Well, that way they can stay at home and take care of the kids.
Yeah, for sure.
That's wholesome.
I'm for it. I'm net positive. I'm just saying. I was trying to think through like some of her, she's got a lot of big movies.
Lurker, this is a good point. Good old American standards. Violence is okay as long as you can't see exposed organs, but sexual situations will ruin your children's lives. That's true. I had a cousin over who was talking about that kind of as a double standard, where like violence is okay. Like, why are we showing children violence, but we're not allowed to show them about people caring about each other? Not saying like there are extremes in all situations, but just kind of that's the thing that we have trouble with, versus in The Rocketeer, Lothar literally breaking people in half.
I just think
rewatching that, I was like, wow, that's very gruesome. Okay.
Also, like the Top Gun kiss ruined my entire childhood, so that definitely should have been a rated R movie from the beginning.
From that point on, you were like,
it ruined all of my kisses in middle school, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not sure you were supposed to watch Top Gun in middle school either.
So No Soul came in, those snapping sound effects talking about Lothar, but I just was still thinking about Top Gun.
Oh man.
Anyway,
yes, unless they're working together regarding The Quiet Place, and then they're both doing work.
So, but I'll leave you with this. I went through and I added a bunch of stuff to my Netflix list because I feel like they dropped a bunch of new things, or the algorithm just caught up with me. Oh no, be quiet. There you go. I added Marshall, Blade Runner: The Final Cut, Jaws, Miss Sloane, School of Rock, Safe House.
Oh, Matt, have you watched Miss Sloane?
Nuh-uh.
Oh, that is definitely your homework for this week.
Definitely my homework?
Definitely your homework.
Okay.
Jessica Chastain, so good.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I got. And ever since you told me about
this time, that's right, Lurker. We'll stick around long enough, you will have a second cup with us.
Huh. There's a lot of, you guys, there's a lot of entertainment out there. It's hard. It's not hard to keep up. You don't have to. You just choose not to keep up. But dang.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot.
Matt, I have to pause this entertainment conversation for a second to just like comment so I'm drinking uh Many Worlds Tavern's instant coffee right now. So
Oh yeah,
uh
maybe we're tapping.
Chris stopped by the booth Gen Con to say hello, and he gave us some of their instant coffee because we threw down the gauntlet and we're like not convinced on the instant coffee business right now. Uh, so I am drinking the Dragon's Nest, which was the whole bean coffee that I got from them the first time. First of all, this is their packaging.
Brilliant.
Nice craft paper packaging with the little lino cut. It's great. This cup is very tasty. This one specifically. So I've now had one of each.
I'm gonna have to
The
call
other one
Orange
is okay.
Nebula.
It is better. It is better than uh than the Orange Nebula instant coffee. It's there. It is. It is.
Oh, look who's here!
Many Worlds.
Oh, they're in here lurking.
Speaking of.
Yeah,
Many Worlds.
I'm pretty sure Chris is joining us next week for stream, right?
That's right. Also, Many Worlds is gonna be on stream next week. We're gonna talk about coffee, so we can give him the good old second cup treatment.
No soul,
questions
proudly
and entertainment. Many
coffee.
Worlds. Be prepared. You have to come. You have to have watched movies.
Yeah, come on now.
Watch something.
No, that's not true. Come as you are. As you are.
We want to know.
So Chris has been doing a lot of Instagram TV board game summaries as he summarizes his trip to Gen Con. And I realized that I regret not trying that game with the circles that you're like the coin, you're pushing it, trying to get your opponent's token off the top of the tree.
What?
Yeah, come on. It's like,
the
you know,
sumo, the sumo Kumo wrestling one, the bug wrestling game.
Kabuto Sumo.
That one.
I regret not getting that to play with my kids, to be honest. I mean, not that it's also you can play with adults.
It's a dexterity game, right?
It's a dexterity game, yeah. You push a token, a wood token piece onto the top of this tree board thing.
Is there any flicking?
Nope.
Okay.
It's like those machines where you'd like put a quarter in and the quarter would fall down
yeah. That machine sucks you in. Like when I go, I can just stand there in front of those machines pretty indefinitely.
Jen, I think this is a common occurrence.
It's not just me, right? Like, yeah.
No, it's just you.
Turns out I'm like 99% of other people.
Okay. I'm the 1%. Why you keep calling me the 1%, Jen?
Are you saying you're not like those people? Are you saying that you can go up to one of those machines and not get sucked in, Matt?
I'm not the one who's pinball fascinated overnight.
Well. Anyways, so you tested out you tried out the game? You liked it? Kabuto Sumo?
Chris did. It was on his Instagram TV.
Oh, but you didn't?
No, and I'm regretting it.
Oh.
I think that would have been good snatch.
Mm.
No Soul asked if I played that Luna game at Gen Con. No, I was shamed into not playing it.
You walked on that live stream and talked about it, right?
I was shamed into not playing it.
Who shamed you?
You did.
I didn't shame you.
No, no one shamed me. It was I didn't know I never went over there. That's a shame. That's true. No, I walked by it a couple times, and when I got up and saw the components and the art, I was like, oh, this is all right. And there was no one there to teach it to me, and I was in one of my wander modes. I think I said this last week. Sometimes you just wander because you need your brain to get a rest, and I was like not really wanting to learn it.
Yep.
I never picked it up. Which is a bummer.
Neither did we pick up that 3-dimensional book storytelling game either. That's like
that was pretty sweet.
$1 million.
There was I think it was 80 or 100 or something like that, but it was a
lot of dollars.
RPG, story RPG, kind of like a dungeon crawler.
What's it called?
it's a book, and you're doing this mission on the cover of the book, and then once you get to a certain part of the story, then you open up the book, and it's a pop-up book. There's this tree that pops up 20 times better than Everdell's tree. It's actually had function and use. Yeah, I said it. And then you do some more things there, and there's a little side page that slides up, and then supposedly there's other things you explore in the book. No spoilers. But it was too expensive for my taste.
But it was very pretty to look at from a
It
distance.
was very pretty to look at. I was impressed.
Yeah.
Pop-up dungeon. Is that what it is?
No, I don't think that's what. Maybe, I don't know. We need links. Matt. He's gonna do it.
Pop-up dungeon is a roguelike on Steam, evidently.
Oh, Matt. So, what's the thing I played for the first time? Also this week, between last week and this week, is Crokinole.
Oh, really?
Play Crokinole.
How's that?
I was totally like a whatever. I don't need to play that silly little dexterity game. Speaking of dexterity games, it's like a lot of fun. The game is a lot of fun. Now I get it.
This weekend is Tennessee Game Days.
I get it now.
Tennessee Game Days is a convention here in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just I get to go every year and I just play games. But one of my buddies loves to make Cork-and-Hole boards.
Okay.
And he always brings his, and we get some games in. So I think I've played with him yet, but he gets some games in.
So are you going? So right, we're supposed to talk about conventions. Wait, hold on. New topic.
No Soul. He occasionally visits the stream as No Gel. So next time he's here, you hit him up about Corkinole.
No deal.
No Geel.
No Geel. Two E's.
Yeah.
2 E's.
Yeah. There's no double E except in Tennessee. In the English language. I remember we talked about I didn't learn phonics. Is that EE?
Real has 2 E's.
I guess if you E. No Geel. I was going to say,
hard G,
all their fucking games are dead to me now that I have a Coke-and-Hole board. Might as well. Might be a bit of a sunk cost fallacy, but oh well. It's fair. I think that's completely reasonable.
I mean, now that I've played, cool, you can try playing lesser things, and it's interesting that I'm kind of looking at other board games that have Catacombs. Catacombs is a great example, but like, now I've played Catacombs, definitely had some fun times with Catacombs, but just in terms of like the casual nature of Crokinole versus like actually having to manage character abilities and things in Catacombs, I would for sure rather play Crokinole. And Catacombs is not inexpensive. It's not like it's so much cheaper than Crokinole. I'm very friends of ours. They got a really nice board. They got a really nice, real nice sets of whatever they're called, tokens, with little nice zipper pouches. I was very impressed.
Is it a board game? Catacombs?
10 out of 10. Would play again.
3rd edition. Catacombs 3rd edition.
There are many editions. There's also many different versions of it now where they did like an arena fighting style one. Mm-hmm. I haven't played that one. Everyone's included. Looks good on the wall. Yep.
This is not as elegant as Cork-and-Hole, though. No, it's a whole different ball game.
I'm not super convinced that I would want a board that's like super fanciful, that whole like hang it on your wall when you're done thing. I don't know if I need that, other than it's super convenient storage, and like where else are you going to put the board? So maybe, because it is a little bit large when it's in a bag. But yeah, I was super into it. Rebecca had a great time too, and we played in teams. Teams is vicious. Team play is great. It's a good time. So what are you gonna play this weekend, Matt? Tennessee Game Days.
I need everybody's opinion. So here's my list of things that are like on my radar to play. These may or may not be in order of importance. Blood Rage, Rising Sun, Ankh. But I really want to play the trilogy, you know? Like, if we're not going to play the trilogy, then it's like,
This was something that we thought hypothetically was going to happen at Gen Con. That
there was
zero
no
chance it's ever going to happen.
There was no chance that was going to happen.
Let's just all remember next Gen Con when we say that we're going to play things.
I didn't bring any of them.
No, you're not.
I didn't bring any of them. We knew. I knew before, but we talked about it. Brass Birmingham, Scythe. It's been a while since I've had a good, big, chunky game of Scythe. So play Scythe. Tapestry. Tyrants of the Underdark. Doesn't care. First edition or second edition. I don't care. Great Western Trail second edition. I only put that on the list because one of my friends picked it up at Gen Con and was really excited to play it. It's like, and I love that game, so I'm it. Dune Imperium. I know it's a year old, but we can still play games.
It's okay. It's got an expansion coming out. We got to play it. It's on our 10x10. Maybe we'll play a game over here too.
Then we enter Lost Ruins of Arnak, Beyond the Sun,
Love
Call
it.
to Adventure, Stormlight
We're so
Archives,
obsessed with those two games.
Twilight Imperium 4.
You don't want to take up your whole day playing Twilight Imperium.
It's not a whole day.
It is a whole day.
3.5 hours.
It is a whole day.
3.5 hours.
It's like a whole day.
No, with a teach, 3.5 hours.
It's not 3.5 hours.
My groups are fast.
With a teach, if you were teaching somebody to play that for the first time, TI4 is not 3.5 hours, Matt. It's a 5 to 6 hour game with a teach. Full player count.
Listen, the first time I played, 2 brand noobs, 2 experienced players. We played in 3.5 hours.
Probably you weren't playing correctly.
We played correctly. 6 hours of the teach.
You have 30 seconds to negotiate. Starting now.
If we start at 6 p.m., we'll be done before midnight.
Many Worlds, Rising Sun is my fave game. Never tried Tyrants or Beyond the Sun, but really want to. I've been turned on to the Tyrants because of the team. They've convinced me that it's a good game. I'm not sure why their new edition of Tyrants is such a missed opportunity. It's just that's where we're gonna leave that. To such a good game.
Listen, I don't blame Gale Force. I'm sure licensing with Wizards is a nightmare.
Yeah, but
they were trying to repackage it and get it at a different price point.
It's just, yeah. Did you see the Rocketeer soundtrack got a remaster this year?
When is the Mondo Rocketeer soundtrack drop? That's the question. Mondo.
Oh, that's true. They haven't dropped that. You know what I missed though was Last of Us Day. Birthday weekend also means Last of Us Day, September 26th. And they did a covers album that I did not get in time for the 2021 drop. So if I do it, if I want the colorized version, I have to wait till 2022 now because I missed it. But that pressing, it's the covers of the songs they did in Last of Us Part 2. So good. Those covers are excellent. I haven't seen that. They've not announced a Rocketeer album.
That's what I'm saying. I want them. I want them to.
Sense.
They can get Josh to do the cover.
Speaking of the Mondo restoration news, I was telling Matt this. I just saw a little article about it. For Unmatched, so Mondo and Restoration Games are partnered to make the wonderful game Unmatched, which is probably a good segue into our topic for today. They are restructuring that how they make those so that Restoration will be the sole actual printing to publisher. So all of them will be available from Restoration Games, and Mondo will be responsible for managing the licensing agreements for the ones that are licensed. But they will all be printed, manufactured. The project management will be completely under house with Restoration, and their goal with this restructuring is that we will have more of a clear runway for new content for it to come out.
I think that's good. I mean, I've been so confused by the Mondo versus
So they've
restoration,
been
juggling.
previously, Mondo's been putting out all of the licensed stuff.
Right.
So our Deadpool,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, Marvel stuff is uh, under them
Yeah.
theoretically, but this might change. This might officially be changing with that. Um, and Restoration has been responsible for printing, publishing all of the unlicensed versions. So now that's where that's going to change. Lurker says he laughed pretty hard at the Dune Imperium is a whole year old, but
Well,
it's
that was
still.
good because it was a joke. Because I had listed everything else from before as a year old, but like I think they're like Blood Rage, Rising Sun, Ankh. They're kind of perennial hits. Brass, top 5 on BGG. Scythe,
Mm-hmm.
my favorite game. Tapestry, 2 years old.
Tapestry is more than 2 years old.
Jen, it's 2 years old.
It's more than 2 years old.
2.
We're gonna go look this up. Look it up.
I don't need to. Last year they did the expansion. The year before they did the base game. It's 2 years old. This came out the same year as Parks, 2019.
2018.
Blood Boys, 2019.
I'm still gonna
Parks
look
did
it
not
up.
come out in 2018. Parks, January 2019 was the Kickstarter.
No, I think Tapestry came out in 2018.
BGG says 2019.
Fine.
Lurker comes in. Blood Rage is a weird one for me. People seem to hate it now because of the original hype train, but in a vacuum, it's a pretty great game. I think that it's just a divisive game because of how demanding it is to players and how punishing it is to mistakes. For a game that was like next steps or like first steps into dudes on a map, heavy dudes on the map, like if you don't know the distribution of cards, the battle cards, then you're not going to win. Not going to win. And also, if you make a mistake in the first year, it's hard to recover. Really hard to recover.
Well, it sounds like what were you playing at Gen Con that was a similar hard to recover from what got played?
Oh, that when was this?
At Gen Con? The one night that we played board games in Gen Con.
Oh, I crushed in
What did you play?
Champions of Midgard.
Champions of Midgard. Similar.
And Kyle had
similar
one. Yeah, Kyle had one
recover
round
vibes.
where he overextended, and I just was over after that. Oh wait, Lurker's group definitely sounds more serious than mine. My group's, I don't know.
No, Matt's group sounds more serious than Lurker's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. I don't feel like my group's serious, but maybe I'm just I lack self-awareness in this category. So.
Well, you're just a serious person with a math brain who can't help himself.
Wow, that felt so violent. The way you just said that, I hurt. I'm like, oh.
You got a math brain. You're a math brain person.
Shots fired. That's right, Bloodborne. Lurker, I forgot. Do you have opinions on Root? Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I definitely have opinions on Root. Is it amazing that Leader Games just seems to know exactly how to make that crowd happy? Yes, that's amazing. And is Patrick a genius for working on this game? Yes. Am I in love with Kyle's art style? No. Am I in love with the theme? No. Do I think it's like impossible to get to the table? No. But only because I have another friend that owns everything and he really wants to get it to the table as often as possible. Have I ever played it in real life? No. The 3 times we've tried, something else came up. So we've just played it online a lot. The app is amazing.
Yeah. What's your favorite? What's your preferred faction, or do you try to play different things every time?
Yeah, I try to play different things. I don't think I've only won like 2 or 3 matches with.
Only one? Why did you say it like that? How
What
many
do you mean?
times have you played, Matt?
A lot?
Okay.
I don't know.
I've only won like a couple of times.
I've only won a couple times with each of the factions against
You just
AI.
the app has the expansion, right? The Underworld expansion on it,
They've
or
got, yeah,
not
they've
yet,
got
or
Underworld. No, I don't think they have Underworld. They've
or
got
not the Underworld one, but they have the Lizards one.
Lizards. Yep,
Yeah,
and Clockwork. I think Clockwork is the other one.
got it.
I desperately want to be better at the Vagabond. Yeah, I think the Vagabond's
Hmm.
really tough. I think it's the hardest
Really cool.
on the app too, because the Vagabond really in it creates social scenarios where you need to be like, hey, we're gonna be friends, and I can help you over here as long as you help me here, right? There's a lot of negotiating that goes with the Vagabond. I mean, some of the other factions, I mean, you can do that with any faction, but the Vagabond specifically because of their movement and
Hmm.
their the whole assist and like handing cards to people and stuff. So,
Hmm.
but I have not played with any of the expansions. So the River Folk, that's right. My buddy's got has that on Steam, and so he plays them pretty frequently. I don't. Yeah, I think the Vagabond is super fun. I love the idea of how unique they are in winning, and then I love the eerie because the math brain in me is like, how can I
See,
plan out
math brain.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 turns? Like you got this strategy, and it's just so fun to watch it play out. Even and then someone tries to screw with you, and you got a backup plan. Oh, it's great. Anyway, I think Root's great. I'm not like a. I mean, I would rather play Scythe over Root, because it just demands so much of all the players, and Scythe doesn't. Scythe's just
And
fun.
I guess that's a similar thing for Blood Rage, or
Right.
to have a really compelling game of Blood Rage or Rising Sun or Ankh really
Oh yeah,
requires people to be on the same page about.
Rising Sun's the same thing, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. If you don't know what's going on in any of those games, you're going to create situations that put other people at advantages, intentionally or usually
So,
unintentionally. And yeah,
Scythe is the same. I guess I'm playing Scythe
sort
at a pretty high level now, so it's like Scythe the same way. If someone's doesn't understand why you're dropping off workers at solo spots to prevent
of.
people
Hmm.
from moving and the popular like if you don't
Hmm.
understand the land grab aspect of it, then yeah, if you're not bullying your neighbor and the two opponents across are, then yeah, that person's pretty much gonna win.
Hmm.
Man, look, we got a whole root conversation in chat. The cats are fine. I agree. Cats are fine. I think that they're supposed to be like this really straightforward and simple faction, and it plays out that way, right? Like it feels simple.
Well, they start with the most board dominance, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, you start with the most area control.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also love to win via dominance cards, which is funny. Like the group that I play root with, before I started playing with them, or at least we played online and stuff. Um, they were like, I've never seen a dominance victory, and I've won like twice with dominance victories, and I just think it's so fun. It's like, hey, I'm gonna go do this. You can't stop me. Again, math brain. It's like,
Well, you have to like really dig for that.
yeah,
It's a specific game that you're playing.
yeah.
To
I've
um
never, yeah.
so
Go ahead.
Matt, you've talked about a lot of games that are lengthy games. Tennessee game days, only 2 days.
3 days.
Not even. How many of the days are you going?
Okay, well, that makes it even worse. Probably just tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. We'll mix it up. Maybe Saturday night.
Okay, Jen, what's the least math brain game that you enjoy? The least math brain game. Hmm.
Side note: there's other games.
Least
These are
math brain game.
while you think, while you think. We're also got Artemis Project, Bristol 1350. Definitely playing Bristol. The Red
Okay.
Cathedral, Rococo, Root. I already said Tyrants. It's a Wonderful World, Viticulture, Tuscany.
Could be the thing.
Mm,
Social
you
deduction
love that
games are
game.
not math brain games. There are people bringing games. It's a pretty good time. We generally we get it to the table with a lot of different groups, and it's a hit in all of those groups. So I think that's probably it. I would put that on the top. It's great.
I've still never played it, Jen. I don't know if I ever will.
Crokinole could be close, but that's right.
But
Except
geometry.
that I'm getting in there, and I'm trying to play like what is it? With the angles, geometry with the angle. But what's that? Oh my gosh, the table with the balls.
The table with the balls, beer pong.
Billiards. Thank you. Wow, really struggling. Chad's here to fill in all my blanks.
Deep breaths.
I appreciate them.
Deep breaths.
Pool. Yes. Alternate words for that. Pool. It's like pool. I know. Sugars.
Yep. Listen, yes, I'm not going to get to play a lot. Oh, we also have Moonrakers. Space Explorers,
which I didn't get to play with the group at Gen Con, and I do a little bit regret that. Since I didn't get to play, I've now been thinking about playing, and about my regrets at not having played it yet.
Do you have Moonrakers?
I do not. Yet. I do not yet.
They enjoyed it, the guys that played.
I know, they said they had a good time. And then they came and watched us
I'm still
continue
skeptical.
to play our 3-hour game of Rocketeer.
Still skeptical. Oh, man,
Where
I need to work out.
Is there a digital place that we can play it somewhere?
Moonrakers?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Ivy does.
Do they have like TTS mods available? We're going to find out.
Speaking of, mods, I did see someone in chat earlier mention that they played the board game arena version of Parks.
Oh, they did. Mr. Fitzsimmons. Thank you.
They were like, hey, I didn't even know it was there. Well, that's because it just came out last week.
Just happened. Beta version is live. Parks on Board Game Arena. What is Rocketeer's deal? So Rocketeer is like a Maddox actually, I think he totally accurately described it as like making runs. It's very similar to making runs in Netrunner. That's kind of the vibe. So you have one person who plays as the bad guys and one person who's playing as the good guys. You're playing along a central board that is the location. So they're like you're playing through the set pieces. And what you're trying to do ultimately are earn points through these cards. It's not so much about like you're going after places and you might have the plans to the rockets, and the rockets are bouncing back and forth between the two teams, between the two players. But you're just managing locations and trying to situate yourself so that you can optimize scoring on these finale cards, I think is what they're called, which are just a variety. It was a very tight game. The game that Maddox and I played was very tight. It came down to a 1-point swing based on me having a finale card that I didn't score anything for because I physically couldn't. But for us learning the game, yes, we were tired. So, okay, yes, fatigue is a thing. That's true. But it still took us 3 hours to play the game.
Learning, occasional distraction.
Yeah, but not so much. It's supposed to be a 45-minute game. 2 hours. There were not 2 hours worth of fatigue and distraction there. That was legit just learning and trying to understand. There's just a lot that you can do. So you're playing. It's a hand management. It's a little bit of a deck. It's not a deck building. You have a set number of cards that you're playing through always. And it's a hand management game. So even though you're playing each player has 3 characters and you're playing one character at a time, you can play as many turns theoretically as you want to in each of those, as many actions as you want inside of each of those turns. So it's not like this character takes 2 actions, and then it's next player's turn. If you have 5 cards in your hand that apply to that one character and you want to spend them all on that character, you can. And now you've just taken 5 actions on your one turn, and that's a lot of brain thinking time.
Yeah, because the nature of a 2-player game being so competitive, right? That's part of the whole 2-player thing. Is like, hey, it's head to head. So every action I do has a reaction from my opponent. So you have to think through all of that. You got to think through what you can do with your hand, and especially as you're learning the dynamic of a game like that, it's just be tough.
Yeah, it's heavier cognitive load for sure.
Yeah.
No Soul said that's how it felt learning Jaws as well. Yeah, I will say that Jaws was surprising, like kind of a surprisingly challenging learn, considering in this case in Rocketeer's case there's totally fewer games that are like that. But Jaws is kind of modeled after. There's a little more things to model after in that example. So for it to still feel like that much of a lift, because I totally agree. I was like, I know how to play games like this. The one versus many will be fine. This is great, and it was more challenging.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know why. But yeah. So Rocketeer, like, would I play it again? I think I would want to see how, like, to see learned things, to see what that sort of exploration of like learning is. But it's got the same deep-seated learning that something like Netrunner has in terms of card understanding. Again, it's a super mathy game. It is a super mathy game. Ultimately, that's, I don't know, not necessarily what I was expecting. It's not where my expectation was.
Yeah, No Soul saying that's how I felt learning Jaws. Oh, well, fancy that, since it's designed by the same group. That's we always talk about the Funko games, formerly Prospero Hall. I guess they still are Prospero Hall.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a flavor. They've got something they're trying to do, and they're working within these IPs. I think that there's definitely an IP focus versus a streamlined focus, right? There's a theme over function sometimes.
Yeah, but I think that that's maybe the miss for Rocketeer for me, is that they're a theme over mechanic, they're trying to integrate it, but it actually didn't feel super integrated. I felt as the heroes, like I didn't fully understand what my objective was as heroes with the plans. Yeah. Like I didn't need to get the plans somewhere. I just had to wait until the bad guys took them away from me to come get them again. And in the meantime, I had to get finale cards to score points. There's like, I didn't have a buy-in as the hero. I don't know. I see there is a Die Hard game. Is that right? Ravensburger? Did Ravensburger do the Die Hard game, or is that also Funko?
That was with Restoration. I don't know if they did.
No. The Die Hard game?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't remember that being with Restoration. Okay.
No, not Restoration. With
Ravensburger.
No, the OP did.
Ravensburger. Ravensburger did Jaws. Yeah, You're right. Ravensburger did Jaws. It's not Funko.
The OP did it, and who designed it?
Oh, the OP. Yes, the OP.
Sean Fletcher and Patrick Marino.
I thought it was just a puzzle the first time I saw it. Right, because it's got the shattered glass on the cover, right? Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So Patrick co-designed it with Sean. Sean is the person who did Smash Up and
Smash Up.
Well, they just worked on Smash Up Marvel and Geek Out. Oh yeah, that was designed in-house from the OP. That's right. Sean works at the OP along with Patrick.
Got it. Gen Con 2019. And really liked it. No Soul really liked coming in with the official really like that.
Smash Ups and board games. Who wants it? Why doesn't it happen more often? What are some of the challenges? Explain what a theme Smash Up is. So
yesterday, I see this shirt design. This is not original to yesterday, because I know there's people out there who've wanted it. So it's Parks After Dark, and it's Sasquatch and an alien sitting around a campfire in the woods. It's going to be a shirt. It's for a podcast that I think is called Parks After Dark or something like that. That's about like silly stories or spooky stories or something like that that you would say around a campfire. That's sort of
Okay.
the
Okay.
premise of this podcast, which I totally now want to go listen to.
Got it.
I was like, oh look, this is this is the campy parks mashup that everybody keeps telling us about that they want. And look, it's a hilarious idea, right? Like, we don't talk about it and not laugh or think that it's funny and enjoyable. But it got me thinking about, like, well, what are other mashups? What are other where has this happened before? Which is not it. The answer is that it's like you're hard pressed to actually find that this has actually happened. And so questions about, let's talk about why would board game publishers not want to do that more than they do? Why would so like we've talked about a couple of things that are thematic mashups, so not necessarily game related, but thematic mashups like Unmatched, right? It's not two board games coming together, but like it's thematically all over the place. Yeah. And it just totally, like, that's the premise. That's like that's what they said it was going to be, and therefore it works. Smash Up was the original doer of this thing with ridiculous themes and this ridiculous premise, but not necessarily like we've got themes here or this idea of IPs that are not necessarily specific. We're not talking about like the Die Hards or the Rocketeer or Jaws, but IPs being like Campy Creatures is an IP, Parks is an IP, 59 Parks. What are, like, people talk about it and it's funny. So what's the holdup? Why haven't we made that game yet, Matt?
So are you saying that Eric Lang needs to design a new board game that requires Rising Sun, Blood Rage, and Ankh to play, where you each pick a different mythology and show up with different rules? It's Root. It's an asymmetric dudes on a map game.
Okay, so asymmetry is kind of a way of having this kind of mechanical conversation in game mashups.
Yeah.
That's interesting call out.
Okay. Yeah, because some of the things I'm thinking of are just like putting an IP on I want Chocobo racing with Flamme Rouge. I guess it could just be bikers racing Chocobo. You got the cyclists and you got the Chocobo.
I'm not hearing downside yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's a good one. I'll call up Restoration today. Well, that'd be Downforce. We could call up. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. What would be the Yuva? What would be the Yuva Steam smash up? Farmers versus...
And more farmers.
Versus engineers. We got someone trying to engineer some food. It's like the Impossible Burger.
Oh, okay. Versus growing... Yeah.
Grow your own.
Impossible Burger. Right. So I mean, like, that's amusing to people. Smash Up was amusing to people. Maybe it's worn, it's kind of played out, it's run its course sort of, and Unmatched kind of took up that mantelpiece of being like, we're going to do this, but in like a more streamlined fashion and a little more tactical. Smash Up is maybe a little wily in gameplay.
I think that's the problem. Not the problem, but that's the thing about it is like, how are you bringing two themes together cohesively?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about some video game smash ups, right? You got Marvel versus Capcom, right? So that's two IPs coming together. But the only reason you can do that is the system allows for this whole it's the character side of it, right? It's Iron Man versus Ryu.
Who's from a game that I got wrong last time.
Street Fighter, that's right.
Okay, so like AEG. This is just a super top of mind idea. You've got tiny towns and you've got the Edge of Darkness, right? Edge of Darkness, like, so take tiny towns, but make it like dark fantasy, or like have an overlay. I don't know, like.
But that's just that is putting IP on top of something else, right? You're taking one game's mechanics and another game's theme and smashing it together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you theme?
Or how do you integrate some of that? Like if we were going to do, let's say hypothetically, we were going to do a campy and parks mashup in some way,
Okay.
right? It's a very funny premise, right? So, but there's not a way, like any of the characters that we take from campy, we wouldn't just bring them in arbitrarily. We'd be thinking about them in the context of the things that they do in campy. We wouldn't
Yeah.
like remove them from the thing that they do in campy.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about just like artistically smashing them up. In this case, you'd probably have to do some kind of blending. It would actually be a pretty heavy lift on our part because there'd be a big art requirement to kind of make something like this happen.
Yeah. But like the Catan,
disclaimer that none of those illustrations for the parks are changing. So like we're just make an asterisk note there. That's never going to happen. But like, what are the ways that it could happen? And like, does it make sense? Like, is it worth, like, would it be an expansion? We talk about it like could be an expansion to parks or something.
You're going to get little creeples and they're going to replace your hikers. And you're going to put the hikers on the trail and the creepers are trying to get the hikers.
With abilities.
Yes.
They have abilities and things that they can do that are relevant, that are related to
at trail end. At trail end, you turn in your mortals. At trail end, you turn in your mortals to conduct your experiments. I'm gonna call Maddox.
Or you have to choose who's hiking down the trail, right? Like you're still the mad scientist, so your two hikers are two things that you have to choose. Like, who are you hiking with down the trail? And they have specific abilities they can do on the trail.
Bridgewater Me just said, sounds like horrified. Maybe horrified sounds like this, Bridgewater Me. Maybe horrified sounds like this. Maybe not. Okay.
So we could do theme. So an easier lift would be to be like, hey, here's the theme and here's the mechanics. So we're gonna reskin, right? We'd call those reskins, and reskins do happen every once in a while. That's a little more common. Is to take a type of game and just give it a new flavoring on top. So it'd be theme on top of a mechanic, mashing up a theme, new theme, a fresh theme with the same similar mechanic, maybe making a few tweaks. For more thematic appeal, but for the most part, the same.
National parks in space.
Right. Except we already did that game. We already did it. It before.
So I guess we did national parks on Earth is what we did. That was our mashup. No. Just real quick. Lurker, the answer is no. It's not done.
It's not done.
Still not done. 2 years later, it's still not done.
Still not done.
Blood Rage, but instead it's Norse. Of Norse, it's Greek. Makes sense to me. Lurker's not looking for done. No. Like, we've designed like 8 games that could be Revenge of the Immortals, and none of them are gonna be teased, because if we tease something, it would just end up being something else. Yeah, we're trying to figure out what makes revenge, and what we want, like the whole world of campy creatures. What is it? Why do we care to make another game? Thematically versus mechanically, we started drifting into Euro territory with it. Now we want to bring it back to theme. So,
to that bluffing table conversation space.
So
still important.
I mean, I got illustrations done. You want to see illustrations? You can't see them. Sorry, I'm not gonna tease those. You've probably actually seen some of them already.
No.
Anywho,
they've seen the cover. They've seen the title. So theme on top of mechanic. Then you could just have 2 themes being smashed up with a whole new mechanic, right? So just take 2 themes that you really like and you just go make something that's completely different and be like, hey, this is its own different game. So in this example, this Parks After Dark example could be a totally different game. It's not an expansion to something. It's not a reskinning of something. It's actually just its own separate little thing.
Great
Then you
Western
could have two
Parks.
mechanics mashing up together, which does happen, but there's no like that's that weird space where it doesn't really make as much sense because you're really breeding. That just breeds new things, right? So it's not something that really happens. Because then it's just a new game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing. Again, you go back to the Marvel versus Capcom and the Smash Ups. It's like, okay, we have a thing. It's the fighting thing. And how do we get those two themes together? We just put them against each other. Totally accurate battle simulator is another example where you've got Japanese warriors from the 1400s versus the legions from Rome in the turn of the, what do they call that? Early, what do you call like the hundreds? The hundreds AD.
The first century.
First century. Dang.
That's right. One for Jen today.
Yeah,
Jen's had.
Team
There's
Jen
been a
is
lot
on
of points for Matt, so one for Jen.
Legend says, as a kid, after watching a movie or playing a video game, I would make a board game for my friends and I to play, and we usually only play it for a few weeks. Lol. At least it got played.
Okay, so like maybe that's a reason is that these things are just again looking at Smash Up is that they kind of play out and they wear off. That those kind of humors are just temporary. They're funny for a minute. They're seasonal.
No Soul comes in and says, I think the reason it doesn't happen more is because it seems redundant. Why wouldn't I buy the same game? Or why would I buy the same game? Right, if you already have Campy, you already have Parks, why would I play Campy Parks? It'd have to be something completely different.
So you have to divert. So that brings us to like, it's purely like, why? So we as a publisher have an opportunity to take themes that are enjoyable, that people are excited about, make mashups, but it needs to be something totally fresh, wholly fresh. So taking those two themes, or taking two themes or a couple of themes, mashing them together into and morphing it into whatever that thing is.
Yep. That's what I want to hear this week. I want to hear what two themes you'd want to see joined together. Airports and Chipotle. I'm going to make a game about Baltimore, Washington International Airport.
Bridgewater Me, can't we just do Parks the Dice game? Maybe.
Parks the Dice game. Is that what you want, Bridgewater Me? You want Parks the Dice game, or do you want Parks Hike and Write? Or do you want Parks the Deck Builder? Parks the Deck Building game. I have Splendor. I'm not buying Marvel Splendor. I have King of Tokyo. I'm not buying King of Tokyo Dark, even though the newer version might be better. Yeah, but then there's the complete other person legend who goes, I have Splendor and love it, therefore I must have Splendor Marvel. Like, actually, anyway, Star Wars, but it's a 2-player game like Duel, to simulate a duel. Okay.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like to Legend's point, it's like who is there more of? Are there more people that are totally happy with the thing? They find the thing that they love and they're happy with it, so they stick with it. Or there are more people that want variety.
Yeah.
I don't know. And are you just playing into a thing where you've got to catch them all and got to collect them all? And do you want to be playing into that thing? I think in this Parks Campy example, there's a fun new thing, but it should be a new thing. I think that's a great example of something that should be wholly new. Like, if you want to enjoy that, it should be something completely different, that feels, it just breeds its own kind of new beast, so to speak.
Yep.
New monster.
All right.
So that's the topic. That's all. That's today's topic.
You even gave me a warning. I still haven't figured out what I want. Haven't figured out what I want. Maybe the tattoo artist versus the barkeeps.
For what?
I don't know.
Something?
Yeah, area control game. It's a small
But
business
in
area.
a downtown, in a small
What else? So there's you each
town just
play a
full of
different
bars and
business
tattoo
type.
shops.
Like, and you're trying to take over a certain part of the city. You want to get all your tattoo parlors. It's
So
like,
you're a gang.
no, it's not. You're not a gang. You're just trying to figure out what the popular vice is in the city.
Barber shops are pretty popular right now.
Barbershops, tattoo parlors, bars, axe throwing.
Like, we just want to make what, all right, this is the downtown that I want to have. This is the downtown that I want to go walk to, be able to walk to, and do all these things.
Lurker, it's good to have you back. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for
Have a
joining.
good meeting. We got to jump too. It's 11:30. We got work to do.
It is time to do other things.
Evidently, we're working on a Revenge of the Mortal teaser. That's what you're doing, Jen.
That's what I'm doing. Get ready for tomorrow. Don't.
It's
don't actually get ready for tomorrow, y'all.
October Fool's Day.
That's right.
All right.
Hey, everybody, happy Fat Bear Week. We're celebrate happy to see the fat brown bears in Katmai National Park. Happy Trout Week, because it's both the same. Matt thinks that there's no bears that eat trout. It's not true. The
I'm just saying that
salmon.
The Katmai bears are eating the salmon coming up to.
Katmai bears eat salmon. Fact. That is a fact. I'm just saying there are other bears that are getting fat off trout somewhere.
You're getting fat. pH fat.
Have a great rest of your week with whatever you're doing. It's almost Friday, almost the weekend. Get after it and have a great one. And we'll be back next week. We'll be back next week with Many Worlds Tavern as a guest. Very excited for that.
Tell them. I'm excited. I'm gonna have to tell them though we're gonna be talking about Dota a lot, so they need to reactivate their account.
And then Matt will be only talking about a video game. So things to look
I
forward to.
I gotta get all my entertainment in before the international starts because I will be on my phone and on my computer and on my TV watching the international. $40 million on the line.
$40 million on the line.
Matt's
gonna teach me all about Dota. Why I should care.
I was the wrong. That wasn't true. I know a lot of people my age that are professional streamers. But none of them are professional video gamers. So actually, a couple of them are.
Matt, you're doing a good job where you're at.
I know. I'm quite.
If you're if you're heading to a
Origins
convention, whether it's Tennessee Game Days or if you're headed to Origins, be safe and have fun. Have fun playing games.
Fun. Thanks, y'all. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Origins today. Sorry. There's no parks there. That's a missed opportunity. Screwed up.
It's our fault.
But
you can still get trails at Target.
I think, I mean, you're more on the up and up with things, but I think Gen Con was able to safely put on a convention, yeah? I haven't had... I didn't get sick. I didn't even get the con cred.
Oh, you did legitimately turn us off?
No. We're on the thing. Oh, you don't want to talk about this in our outro?
No. Lurker says they can't hear the chatter. The after chatter.
What?
Oh, maybe they can't hear it because they have to go to their meeting.
They have to leave.
I got confused. It's live. Got it.
That's right. We don't even know anymore if we're live or not live. It's just like... Yeah, I know. We know.
Yeah, no. So far I haven't heard anything. I know a lot of folks have done due diligence, gone and gotten extra testing, especially those that are going have to follow up and go to Origins.
Yep.
That's back to back. Legitimately not having parks at Origins has a whole lot to do with just like you just lose a week.
You just lose a week. That is.
You just freaking the week after Gen Con was just no work happened.
Brutal.
I know work happened.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Jen, is it your turn in parks?
Mask wearing does help with con cred. Absolutely. I was so excited to come home and be like, wow, I'm actually not sick, other than the mild sore throat from talking a lot. That was actually very refreshing. I'm like, I don't like wearing this mask, but I really like that the not touching people and mask wearing reduced the spread of germs. So fact, it helps. Switch computers.
Facts.
Oh, Lurker explaining. Is it my turn in on Board Game Arena?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't get an email to say it was my turn.
Well, you just always have your tables open.
Just always assume.
But I'm currently winning 17-7. I have the same number of resources as you. No, I have one less resource than you. Jen, how am I beating you so bad?
You're not beating me so bad.
So bad. I'm like literally dominating you.
I have to take my turn at this other thing. You are not dominating me. I have a lot of parts in reserve. They're valuable parts. I'm feeling fine. It's gonna be fine. I have to take my turn in this other game before you can take my turn in our game. Who am I? What color am I? Oh, I'm pink. Okay.
I'm on my way.
I'm gonna jump down here, confirm this hiker, then I'm gonna move here, get all of this water, for sure. Yeah, I want to fill a canteen. There we go. Now I can come over to Matt and I's game, where I am white. And to visit a park action. Doopy-doo. What do I want to visit?
Wow. Our post credits talk has turned into post credits thinking. Well, with that then, I'll just leave you with I'm gonna crush Jen. It's happening.
Did I do it?
It's going down, 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 down. Down, down. Oh, wait. No, here we go. This is what I'm going to close on. Jen. 7 days later.
What?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Jennifer. Happy birthday to you.